All right, so I'm John McBride. I work for Citrix. I'm a technology evangelist, and we're going to talk about some of the real-world uses of XenApp 6.5 SDK. Some of the stuff that I've done kind of in my day-to-day job, and some of the stuff I've done prior to being at Citrix, right? So actually running XenApp environments, and actually how to use the SDK to actually enable some of the stuff to make configuration easier. So how do you get started with the 6.5 SDK? So the first place you want to go is to the download site, get the SDK. This is for client install, right? So if you have Win 7, Win 8, you can run the install here. The SDK is available in XenApp 6.5 natively, so you don't have to run an install if you run the PowerShell stuff within the XenApp install. So once you get it installed, here's a couple things you can do, right? So once you get it installed, you can run this command, get command module Citrix star. This will list all of the PowerShell commandlets that are available for you to run within the XenApp environment. There's like 200 of them, so they can't all fit on a slide, but there's things from publish application to disable user to get session information. You can do a lot of stuff from the XenApp side. So we wanted to go through a couple high-level examples, right? So these are just some high-level, quick examples of some of the stuff you can do with the SDK. So this first one is looping through all the published apps and then adding a new server to each published app. So for example, if you had a new server that you added in the farm, you could run this script to quickly add it to all the published apps in the farm, right? So you just for each app in the Get XA application, this is actually what pulls every application from the XenApp environment. And then as you're looping through each one, you're just adding an application server. You tell it, hey, this is my application name, and then what my new server is that I'm going to add it to it, right? So this is a quick way of adding a particular server to all published apps in the farm. And then here's your PowerShell result that will return. It basically just returns all the property information of that newly added app, right? And this command here is pretty important. Add psnap in Citrix star. This actually loads the Citrix PowerShell commandlets in PowerShell that you can actually use them, right? So if you don't use this particular command, you may get errors, or you will get errors because it doesn't know about those commandlets. So the next example is kind of the opposite, right? It's removing a server from all applications. So if you have a server that's acting funny or not acting like you want it, or is refusing connections, you can kind of traverse through all the apps and remove that server from each application, so it's not serving up any applications. And basically it's the same thing, right? So we're still doing a for each. We're actually calling the Get XA application PowerShell, which returns all the apps. We're going to iterate through each one. For each app, we're going to actually remove an application server. So it's the same thing as we did before, just in reverse. And you're actually saying remove server 1 from this particular app, right? So it removes removes this particular server from every app in the farm, right? And as you can see here from the result, there's actually no servers configured in the console, right? So that's a quick way of, even if you're removing a server from the farm, you can run through it before you remove it, take everything out of the apps, and then actually do the deprovisioning of the server from the farm. So to disable a published app, right? Sometimes you want to disable published apps via the console. Sometimes you want to script them, right? So this is how you do it in PowerShell. In this script, we actually did something a little different. We're actually saying how many apps to disable, so we're giving it app 1 and app 2. We're then looping through each app, right? So for app 1 and app 2, we're going to actually disable the application and pass in the browser name of app, right? And that will actually disable each app that you have in this list, okay? And as you can see here from the UI, right, the application disabled, right? So easy way to kind of run through whatever applications you want and disable them. Whether you're doing maybe in a dev farm or QA farm or whatever, you can actually run through them, disable them all, enable them all, etc. All right, example number 3. So this is actually publishing new apps to users. So obviously you can publish the new apps via the console. You can also do it from within PowerShell, right? So that would actually be using the, you can do it 2 ways. This one is actually using copy XA application, right? So again, we're saying which apps to copy. We want to copy both apps. We want to copy app 1 and app 2. So we're going to iterate through those guys. And then we're going to actually copy, we're going to copy the application. We want to copy app 1, and this is the new path that we want to put it into, right? So when it copies it, it's actually going to take all the properties of that app, put it in a new folder within XenApp, and then it copies all of the permissions, all of the server information. It copies everything, right? So it's a deep copy of when you're copying the app. And from the result, you can actually see that you get app 1 and app 2, right? So these are direct copies of these 2 apps that were previously existing in the XenApp farm. So it's an easy way to duplicate apps from PowerShell, and then maybe you do a slight modification within the console. Or you can do more extensive stuff in PowerShell to actually modify additional properties or whatever. So here again, we're doing a new published app. This is actually doing a new application versus a copy, right? And here, it's a little bit more PowerShell, but basically what we're doing here is we're defining the server, the users that we want, and the published application that we want, and then what we want the display name here, right? So nothing too bad, but then we actually call the new XA application. This is the PowerShell command that's actually create the application. We have to tell it the application type, which is a server installed, right, which is a published application versus content or desktop, right? In the display name we want to be this array, which is this guy right here, my editor. Folder path, we want to put it in the application/test folder, right? The command line executable, we want it to be this guy right here, Windows Notepad. And then your server names is this, and your accounts is this. So it's an easy way to kind of build a script where you can just modify these values and then just automatically run this command line, right? So in this script, all you would have to modify is what the published app is, what you want to call it, who your users are, and then the server that you want to publish it to. And then this stuff just works. And then as you can see here, you get the new published app, my editor, right, which is what we called it, and it's in the test folder, right? Right. So that's how you kind of, the 2 different ways of creating a new application, either copy them or you can create a new one out of the box, right? What's that?
Why does the first one have the parentheses around it? Hey John, can you get the thing on mic so everybody else can hear that?
So how about I just repeat it? So he was asking why are there parentheses around here, right? Yeah. So these are actually, these can be arrays, right? This can have, like this, it's the same thing here. You can have multiple values in here, right? So you could have multiple servers if you wanted to publish an application to multiple servers. So if you had 3 servers, this could be server 1, comma, server 2, comma, server 3. It's in Power, oh.
Yeah, I see that on the second one.
Right. Right. It is just because I was only publishing one app or one server. It has the ability to add multiple servers in there, right? In this example, I was just publishing for one server, right? But yeah, it's the way to do arrays. Sure. Here you go. Hold on.
It's not too loud. On the first example, when you're removing servers from applications, were the application names case sensitive?
So right here?
No, go back one more. No, go for it. It was probably the first one that you showed me.
So remove a server from the published app?
No, I want to remove, when you're removing the applications, go to the next example. It might be, yes, right here. So apps to disable. Is it case sensitive, the name? Okay.
No.
Thank you.
Nope. Cool. So that's that. So that's kind of a high-level overview. We kind of want to, we're relaunching the developer network, so we kind of want you guys to check out, we have a new website, developer.citrix.com. It has a list of all of our SDKs now in kind of an easy-to-find format. There's also forum links to actually create and post sample code.
Hey, John, why don't you just actually point them through, show them how to find the SDK off the link we have. I'm sure that our YouTube video followers will appreciate it as well. Go ahead and go full screen on that.
So this is the new website, specifically for XenApp, XenDesktop stuff like we're talking about. It's under the XenApp, XenDesktop product lines. In the particular for the 6 and 6.5 SDKs, you can go here. Right, and this gives you a brief opening about what you can do. Here's the command, some of the commands. Here's the documentation, the Exchange forum, which you guys can participate in. If you guys have some cool scripts, post the scripts out there, share with the community, right? Because a lot of, we all build these kind of one-off scripts and they're to do a particular thing, but they might be useful to other people in the industry too. So, and then. Right, so that's how you would do that. Start a new Exchange idea, or if you see something that we're lacking as far as the XenApp PowerShell SDK or any SDK that you're playing around with, submit a request to the product PM, and this will directly go to the product PM guys, and they'll get back to you on for more information about what you're trying to do. All right. So with that, is there any other questions? Good. All right, thank you.